Don't you wanna have fun? Fool around someone? 'Cause don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun?
Yeah, his baby said that they don't got a future like that. It burns, so give him something worse to kill his head with. Make him forget somehow. Might be that another day she would have wished he stayed, but they're done. Sorries won't be enough this time. Yeah, he's calling all his friends to get some action and distract him right now. He's fine, got Lucy on the line, let's get this started. Where's the party tonight? I feel good, nothing weighs me down. I can't believe my luck right now. Red eyes while he said, don't you wanna have fun? Fool around with someone? Don't you wanna have fun? Never mind my dumb heart, it needs a little kickstart. 'Cause don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Ooh, who needs a job to pay the rent? He's busy. Gotta feel free sometimes, right? What doesn't make you will only make you stronger if you believe what they say. Might be that another day she would have wished he stayed, but they're done. Red eyes while he said, don't you wanna have fun? Fool around with someone? Don't you wanna have fun? Never mind my dumb heart, it needs a little kickstart. 'Cause don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Yeah, his baby said that they don't got a future like that. It hurts, so give him something worse to pass the time. Don't you wanna have fun? Fool around with someone? Don't you wanna have fun? Never mind my dumb heart, it needs a little kickstart. 'Cause don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Don't you wanna have some fun?
I know I can't forget it, the cyclone in my head. But when I first saw you spinning, I was in a craze. 'Cause when it gets late at night and your love is on my mind, your energy makes me wanna let loose. Yeah, I can't be wasting time waiting for the sun to rise before we fade out tonight. Let loose. Stay for another song.
Okay, welcome to another Wedding Wisdom, another week here. Thank you for joining us. Anybody who's out there watching either live or if you're watching throughout the week, my name is David Gale, and this is my partner, Amanda, and we own a company called Euro Productions Entertainment Services. So we, of course, came up with this little concept of doing a Wedding Wisdom show, kind of a show where you bring on some different professionals in their own industries and talk to them about, you know, what it takes to be a professional in that industry and how great it is to work in the wedding industry. You know, their favorite parts about it, what got them into it. You know, venues. We've got a venue on today. In fact, we've got Sharon Stevens from the Coots Center. So she's going to be joining us today. And we've actually done quite a few shows at the Coots Center, haven't we, Amanda?
Yeah, actually, we have. It's a beautiful venue outside of Nanton, Alberta, which is where we live. So
I found a really cool video actually on their Facebook page. So I pulled it off and I'm going to play it for the show today because I think it gives a really good highlight of what the Coots Center looks like. The other person that we've got on, because we usually try to have a couple, you know, professionals in the industry on the show. We've also got Andras Schram. So Andras Schram is going to be on the show with us. I've worked with Andras before as well. So, you know, it's easier to get people on the show who you know really well. Reach out to them and go, hey, Andras, buddy, can you be on the show? And you go, yeah, no problem, Dave. However, what's really interesting, I don't think you even knew this. Andras is actually in Hungary right now, I believe.
Oh,
so he's it's like 10 o'clock his time right now. So we should bring him in and find out if I'm right here. So Andras, welcome to the show, your buddy. So am I right? You're in Hungary right now? Is that right?
Yes, I am, and I'm a little bit sleepy.
Well, 10 o'clock your time,
we won't
2 o'clock
keep you
ours.
too long.
Yeah,
that's
too long. Yeah. Now, somebody who's not sleepy right now, well, I don't know if she's sleepy or not, but I'm assuming that since it's the middle of the afternoon, she's going to stay awake. This is actually Sharon Stevens. So Sharon Stevens from the Coots Center. Thank you very much, Sharon, for joining us as well. I appreciate you both being here, and we're going to talk a little bit about your industries. Now, Sharon, of course, you represent the Coots Center, which is we call it a wedding venue. And Andras, you are a photographer, and we've got some highlights of some of the stuff that you guys do. Now, I like to have a theme for the show every week. So the theme that I decided to come up with this week, especially for photography, for DJ, and even the beautiful chandelier that is located at the Coots Center in the reception venue. We decided that this show we're going to talk about lighting and how important lighting is. So that was kind of the theme I thought I'd bring up. And let me tell you, I always like to give an antidote or a funny story about the lighting or a theme when we have one. The theme being lighting. One of the funny things about my industry is I bring my own lights, but of course, when we're getting ready for the dance, I'm running around the room all the time going, where are the lights for the venue?
Yeah.
How do you turn them off?
And nobody ever knows.
Nobody ever seems to know how to turn the lights on or off at the venues. I got to run around. I get my assistant. If Amanda is working with me, I'll get, Amanda, can you go find out where the lights are and when we can turn them off? So we're trying to control the lighting in the room. And I think the lighting, just like photography and just like the mood that you set at the Coots Center, I think is very, very important. That whole lighting situation sets the mood. Would you agree with that, Andras?
Oh, absolutely. As a photographer, we work with light. You know, that's our backbone. For me, thankfully, I'm fortunate enough to be creative that I could pretty much work in any kind of lighting situation. However, you know, one of my pet peeves is when, and this is mostly the couple, this is not necessarily the venue or the organizers, but as a photographer, I find that it's increasingly important to tell the couple, when you know the venue, that how the lighting should hit, let's say, the stage when they're having a first dance.
All right.
I do a lot of Indian weddings, and one of the biggest things that I've always said to my couples is once they set up that beautiful stage where they're actually sitting, and I'm sure you have done a few, usually the little couch that they sit on, it's a 2-seater, silhouettes against the background that they light up, but they never seem to light up the actual couple.
Right.
Which for us is horrible, because then you got to use your flash and it never looks the same, especially with Indian couples, Indian ceremonies. There's so many things that are happening, and they're constantly happening up at this stage. So in the last couple of years, I would say in the last 10 years at least, it's the number one thing that I always say to my couples: make sure that you have lighting on the two of you as well, not just the backstage, because you're going to silhouette against it. So, as a photographer, I find that it's incredibly important to say that to them, because they wouldn't know. That's your job,
Hmm.
to tell them and educate them that if they want to have those beautiful shots, because we bring in lights, but I usually go by the video guys. But if the video guys are not there, I can only flash them.
Yeah.
Or the biggest problem that I find is that they love the light so much that you bring in, that they want you to have it constantly on. Now, at some point during the night, you will have to go home. If you take those lights down, it's going to be dark,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
right?
I think that's a good point in collaboration as well. So let's just point out here, we're looking at your website. You mentioned that you do a lot of Indian weddings. And so I thought I'd bring this one up here. And one of the things I love about your style is that you definitely make everybody look very Hollywood. So that now I don't know the differences because I'm not a photographer in styles, but that's the way it comes across to me. The emotion that comes across to me is, if I was this couple, I would feel like $1,000,000, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what you want to make your couple feel like.
That's true. That's, one thing that I teach photography too. So that one of the reasons why I'm in here in Hungary, I have a beautiful studio in Budapest, and my workshops and my seminars are doing extremely well, which is kind of a sad thing that, in Calgary, I can't seem to get enough students that really want to learn.
Right, right.
There's lots to learn, and it's not necessarily just the photography part, but the psychology that goes into it, that then goes into the posing, that goes into like knowing how to pose your couples the way you actually see and pick up on my photos. That's important. And that's one thing that, is definitely a style from my end. And that's where I get most of my couples, because they say, hey, you know what? Your pictures look like we're movie stars. We look like we're models, and you're not. That's really upon the photographer to be able to know how to pose your couples. That's where a lot of the photographers actually bleed out.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now, again, on the topic of lighting here, Sharon, I wanted to talk to you. Now, do you know the story of the chandelier in the Coots Center, the reception area there?
Yeah, I do. Just like most of the elements around the Coots Center here, they are repurposed.
Okay.
So there's 3 chandeliers in the pavilion, in the events pavilion, that was built in 2020, and the largest one in the center was from a theater in Montreal. And then the 2 smaller ones they also came from salvage, believe it or not. So someone was going to throw them out. And
Really?
the director here found out, and he collected them. So
Wow.
yeah.
Huh. So I'm going to show a quick video here of the Coots Center. It's a flyover. You probably know what video I'm talking about, right? So I'm going to show this video. It's about 1 minute long. And everybody just enjoy this flyover of the Coots Center and what it looks like. So as soon as you see that there, Andras, I'm just going to ask you, do you immediately start getting ideas?
Yes, exactly. You can read my mind. I was looking at different angles and places. I'm like, oh, that would be a cool place to shoot. Oh my God. And that chandelier. Oh, I love chandeliers. Of course.
Of course, of course. People, I mean, that first thing that we noticed when we got there was that chandelier hanging. When that went up right away, we were like, "Oh, that is so beautiful." And it sets the mood of the lighting for the whole, atmosphere of the reception and what's going on in there. I mean, it's a perfect lighting for a wedding reception.
Well, you don't even have to add any more decor. There's certain places
Yeah,
that
actually, that's a good point.
If you have gorgeous lighting, I know a lot of people do the string lighting and everything. Once you have that, there's really very little you need to do to the rest of the room. It just all kind of makes it feel warm and welcoming. And
what kind of feedback do you get, Sharon, on the venue itself and people who've been there to have their weddings there?
Oh, well, they love it. I mean, it's got many locations within the venue itself. So we can seat 120 people in a more formal dinner setting within that pavilion that you saw the chandeliers in. Oftentimes people have smaller weddings. So there's a photographer here in Nanton who organizes like weddings for like 30 people.
Right. Okay.
They stage it throughout the property that you saw. There's a beautiful arbor, and there's the beautiful elm alley. There's just so many places that the couple are able to have access to and make decisions about the best place for their wedding.
And the venue is perfect for the photography. It has such great backdrops that you don't have to travel anywhere. You get your ceremony, you take your pictures right on site where your friends and family are, and you're not having to arrange for, driving all over the city or the province. It's the perfect combination.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. So the other thing that I think needs to be pointed out about a feature of the Coote Center is if somebody is having an event there, you guys have like right where, and let me back up a second. How many people get their picture taken with the "I want to grow old with you"?
Oh, lots of
everybody,
everyone, brides, grooms, brides and brides, grooms and grooms, grandmas, grandpas, like pretty well everybody who comes.
Pretty much everybody. Yeah, exactly. And so inside that building, though, this is kind of why that reminded me. Inside that building it's a very important function inside that building, right? What is that building for?
The pavilion? Oh, the building.
No, the building that the signs on.
That's our. It's a kitchen. It's where our caterers prepare food for serving. We have a list of caterers in the area that we recommend that our couples use, and so we think we add to the economic development for the Nanton and Southern Alberta area here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, exactly. Andras, I want to ask you about some of your favorite moments. Can you think of any of your favorite moments? I'm going to bring your website up again here, so let's just take a look, and I'm going to pop through some of the different pages here. You've got some of the different wedding. Let's see, the brides and the grooms. Some of these, is there anyone that stands out like Catherine and Robert? Where was that location?
That was at Emerald Lake, actually.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought it was at Emerald Lake.
And that picture that you are actually on is one of my favorites. It was favorite because I remember that I actually had to convince the couple to do that shot for me.
Oh yeah.
You cannot go under the bridge anymore. That used to be like back in the day, and even then, I think they let it slide because it was the wedding couple. So the thing that happened here, and I'm just going to give you a little secret here.
Sure.
Because once I see something, and you've asked me about incredible moments, so once I see something, I want to do it. So the picture that you see there, it was actually the first picture that I took was the picture itself with the lake, with the clouds and the trees in the background. And I imagined how beautiful it would look like if I had a couple in a canoe, but you can't go under the bridge. So we had to ask the people that were lending the canoes out that please, if you could just use that canoe. Now, that wasn't even the problem. The problem was that it started raining.
Oh.
And And I had to really beg the couple to say, please, let's do this.
Yeah.
Catherine, they're both like hikers, and they like, they climb, and the climbers, and, they're just fantastic people. So they said, okay, let's do it. I said, look, if it's going to start raining really bad, then I'll call it off. But like, it's just drizzling. I have this picture that I want to do. And that picture has become one of my most favorite moments. It's one of those things that I've always said to my students too. If you see something and you imagine something, then try to do the best you can to convince and make it happen. Because the worst thing that could happen is you go home and you say, like, I've imagined it, but I didn't follow through with it. So now you're going to have like nightmares about that picture that you never took. But at least this way you tried, and if you succeed, then you have a beautiful photo to take home.
Right. No, that's a great point. Now I got a message here. Sharon, you were saying something, so I just want to ask you about it. You said there's a photo on this page that has a wedding couple under the bandstand with specific lighting. What were you referring to?
Well, if you're able to bring that website or our website up with that photo, it's kind of an iconic one now. We got permission from the photographer to use it. And it's in one of the areas that we call it a bandstand. It was also built in during the COVID times. It's quite a beautiful image. It was shot at night, so there is lighting.
So now this is on which website?
The Coots Center.
Is it
the Coots Center? I put the link in the chat.
Oh, it's on the link that you gave me. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, okay. You know what? I've got this. So let me just take a second. Bear with me here while I get this up here.
Technology catches up with us.
Yeah, gotta work quickly to do this. So now, does this at all look like what we're talking about?
Yep.
That's it right there?
Yep.
Okay. Stay in touch with the Coots Center. Let's do that
a little promo. And if you scroll down, you can see other lighting because oftentimes the wedding parties are here from daylight to dark.
Look at that.
It is a difficult thing to shoot sometimes. Photographers have to be prepared, as Andras would know.
Yeah, no, this is there's the chandelier we were talking about. We saw it in the video as well. But what a beautiful chandelier to have in there. And this is the kitchen that we were chatting about as well. So, but that's really important. You know what? There's a lot of places that don't have an on-site kitchen that, you have to basically bring everything in, warmers or, ovens or whatever. And then you don't have a place to put it really. So this is a very, very important part of a venue when you're looking for a venue and things like that. So, Sharon, I want to ask you what else is also important to look at when you're looking at a venue, when a wedding couple is looking at a venue.
Bathrooms. Yeah, we have flushing toilets here, but I do know a lot of outdoor weddings don't. So we work pretty hard to make sure that the guests all have comfort. It sometimes is a bit of a walk for people to get to the bathroom. And one thing that our venue coordinator reminds people of, especially if you're from an urban center, that this is the countryside. So high heels may get stuck in the gravel, and maybe, there's it's sometimes difficult for people to walk.
Right.
And so this past summer, the director here, John Stoll, built a wider pathway that goes directly to the bathrooms. And in keeping with all the things here at the Coots Center, it's based on a patchwork quilt. So quilts are an important part of Western Canadian heritage. So again, it's on our website. You can see that the pathway is not just a function; it has a story as well.
Yeah, right. Everything at Coots has a story connected to it. I want to ask you guys, what do you think is a trend that you've seen this year that sort of connects lighting with photography? Because I'll say one is the sparklers. And I don't know if it happens at Coots because of the fire, purpose of it, but I've seen a lot of couples that hand out the sparklers to their guests after it gets dark. and then they do some sort of, picture with that. Is that?
Oh, you're talking about the hand sparkler. I thought you were talking about the dance floor, like
No,
the cold sparklers or something like that. Okay.
Like the birthday cake kind of sparklers. I
Right.
see a lot of people using those. Is that something that is easy to capture, Andras? Like, that's a very quick moment that you're trying to get
It's
there.
a very good question that you're asking, and I wanted to actually mention one thing that not many people think about, and I think maybe lately the venues might be a little bit more prepared, but I just wish, and I've been doing this for 25 years. I've shot over 600 weddings, and I wish that wedding venues would ask photographers when they start developing their space to ask photographers about lighting. If I'm going to put up, let's say, a chandelier, if I'm going to put up, candles, if I'm going to put up string lighting, if I'm going to put up, incandescent lighting, lighting that actually vibrates, when you put on your camera, especially the Christmas lights, at certain shutter speeds, those lights cut off and you can't see anything. So I just wish, they would consult with photographers and video people and say, like, what do you think? Would this work? Because I can guarantee you that some good photographers and cinematographers would help you out lots to design at least the mood lighting. I can't say everything, but at least the mood lighting. So when you have the first dance, then you can get some incredible shots. Back to the sparklers. The sparklers, usually the couples will tell me ahead of time if they want to use sparkles or the sparklers. And that usually happens at the places where you have like evening receptions, especially during the winter times, because that's something that they add on. But it's never easy to actually do a really beautiful and cool sparkler shot. So you really have to prepare for that, because you have to bring in some kind of lights. Sparklers by themselves is just not enough.
Yeah.
It's like, basically, I remember having a couple of shots where the couple told me, like, what? We're just going to walk in to the reception. Everything's going to be dark, but we're going to have beautiful candlelight by our legs. And I said, like, that is great, but you realize that only your legs will be shown as you're walking by, because there's no other lights. And if I flash you, I'm going to lose that atmosphere that you were looking for.
Yeah.
So you still need to have some lighting on their heads. Now, the other thing, and I know the DJs use this quite often now, you have those sparklers that you put on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Those are amazing, but they honestly always mess up the lighting for the photographers. It's one of the hardest things to shoot, because if you're not prepared for it, especially when you switch it off and on, it's just we have to switch so fast between our camera settings that it's almost incredibly hard to capture a really amazing moment.
So that's a good question, because as a DJ myself and running a DJ company, I always try to find the best way to collaborate with the other services that are involved with the wedding. So as a photographer, I've learned a little bit over the years about what I can do to help photographers out as far as some lighting on the dance floor and all that kind of stuff. But what do you think is some of the top points of what I should be talking to photographers or asking my couples, can I connect with your photographer to discuss these points or collaborate with them a little bit more so that he or she gets what they're looking for?
I think it's super important, and you should, because I mean, we're a team at that point, right? So, the couple wants beautiful photos, and to work together with the DJ is super important. So, like for instance, I would appreciate it if the couple tells me, or the DJ tells me, look, I'm going to turn the sparklers on as soon as they come on the dance floor, but that will last for a minute, so that I can prepare a certain setting on my camera that would look good. And then when the sparklers go back or they die off, then I can switch back to my other settings. But if you turn back your sparklers, 2 to 3 times during the dance, that totally messes up with the camera settings. So yes, it's important to coordinate with the photographers.
Yeah, no, great point. And I think we just got a new fan here. So I've got somebody who says, this is Kirsten B. And she's saying, I want to get married at the Coots Center. Lots of exclamation marks. And then she said, it's number 1 on my list for sure. And then at some point, we made a good point that she agreed with. So I'm not sure which point it was exactly.
I'm
but
sure it was something that Sharon and Andras said. It has to be.
Yeah. So, and then she said, I love that you think that way. And I know she's talking about Andras and the points you were making on this one now, because this came in when you were talking. I love that you think that way. And when I get married, I'll be contacting you for sure as a normal person. A normal person. Well, Kirsten.
Be nice.
As a normal person, I don't think about that stuff. Kirsten and I know each other. That's why I can tease her.
And she shouldn't, right?
No,
shouldn't.
you're absolutely right.
Why would you know? Yeah.
Why would you know? And she said, I got my whole dream team right here on this live. This is awesome.
There you go.
Right here. So this is perfect. Well, that's awesome, you guys. I wanted to ask you a couple more questions. As I kind of, brought in some questions that you guys can ask, or you guys wanted me to ask you about. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, Andras, is about the connection with the photographer and the pricing. What should clients look out for that?
Wow, that's actually a hard question nowadays, to be honest. Pricing, I think what people should understand, and this is especially when you're looking for a photographer. Imagine something like this. You have a certain budget, and obviously you should work with a budget. The budget should consist of, the amount of people that you're going to invite. That's important. The venue where you're going to hold your wedding. And obviously with women, with girls, it always starts with the dress. You should have a beautiful dress. That's the number one thing. Yeah. And obviously after that, your soon to be husband should have a beautiful tux or a suit that is tailored to him. The decor. And again, I mentioned the venue. Now, how much you're going to spend on the photographer, that really depends on how much you're really left with, because most people will want to also have a cinematographer. Mm-hmm. And I know from my end, I'm not the cheapest. I'm not the most expensive either. I love weddings, but I'm also proud of what I give as a product. Mm-hmm. With 25 years of experience, and you have touched on, the type and the style of photography that I give. So I think, and I'll be very, very honest here, I have lost a lot of couples in the last couple of years, and it's not necessarily because there's a lot of photographers on the market, but I lose some of my couples that are looking for me on very little amounts, a couple of percentages here and there. And I find that if you're really close to what I'm offering for the style that I'm giving you and the quality, then losing out on, let's say, a few $100s because somebody else gives you a better deal is fine. But you got to think that later on, and I have this all the time, I have people come back to me and say, like, you know what, it was only like $500. I wish I've gone with you. That much of a difference. Now, I'm not saying that you should cut out one of your, or 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 10 guests on your list, but to lose. So the point is, if you're not going to have a good photographer to capture those beautiful decor shots and the venue and the whole atmosphere, then you're losing out on lots. Mm-hmm. That's the end.
I always felt like, photographer was very high on the list of the value that you can get for what you're purchasing, because your photos last a lifetime. Mm-hmm. You'll always reflect back on those photos. For us, for the DJ company, it's harder because it's in the moment of making people feel good and pumping up the party and the entertainment value of that. So I think you're right. I think especially for you, the quality, knowing you've been around for so long, what you produce, a couple, $100 extra, it's worth, don't do the little gift things at the end of the night, or, the little goodies for your friends and family. Nobody cares about those things. Put the money into what really matters, of what is your lasting memories. Yeah.
I think the food is really important. Sorry, Andras.
Maybe you can ask your guest to contribute to those people, like the photographer or the cinematographer, right? Because I think that's a beautiful gift that you could give. That's something that you can really go back on and say, like, you know what? I don't need another coffee maker or toaster or something like that. But you know what? Being able to pay or to afford that photographer or cinematographer was the best gift that I could ask from my guests.
Yeah. And I've always said it's, it's based on priority. So Kristen, I'm clapping out loud. I agree with all of this. She also said, I know for me, photos are one of the most important parts, and it's important to me to find someone who loves what they do, and quality is worth the money in my eyes.
Absolutely.
So I've always said that obviously it's in priority, certain people, like for me personally, I love the photography. I love, the pictures that are taken, but the party for me, and that's probably why I'm a DJ, I'm a little bit biased here. The party for me, that is the most important part for me. If I'm going to plan this thing for the entire year, I want to go out with a bang. So, and some people are like that. We get clients who say that one of our top priorities is the party. So, that's when you go on, okay, if that's your top priority, if the venue's your top priority, if the photographer's your top priority, then put them in the category of this is where I want to spend most of my money. And then take all the other little things, the little details and stuff that you can pull away from that. Maybe it's not a top priority for you, and maybe it's stuff that people won't even remember. It's just going to be throwaway stuff. And some people, that stuff is important. I'm not taking away from those industries, but some people go, you know what? This other stuff is really important to me. The photography, the venue, the food, the DJ, the entertainment. So that's where I'm going to put all my money, and I can cut down on some of this other stuff. So what do you think?
And a good DJ creates those moments and that atmosphere for the photographer. I don't have to wait for people to go in the dance floor because somebody is not creating that atmosphere. I want you guys to create that atmosphere. It's the same thing, as a photographer, a good DJ is a must. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We got Candace here. Don't forget about the bar. Look, the bar helps the DJ too. So let's not forget about the bar. So Sharon, what do you think of all this stuff? And what about those, the joys of the outdoor weddings? And I mean, that's what you guys really offer up is that outdoor experience. I mean, they're really important, and the vendors that are, you want to talk a little bit about the economic development around that area. So
yeah, I mean, we are an outdoor venue, but the pavilion that was built specifically for events it does have ways to be kept warm. As we know, the wind here on the prairies is pretty intense, so we have ways that the walls are removable and they can be put back down. We've also got a scrim now, so you can actually see through out onto the beautiful landscape. And we, there are photographers that live in Nanton, and quite a few of them use our center, not just for weddings, but for engagement announcements. Lots of high school grads come here and have their photos taken. So, and because it is like every corner of the property at every time of year is actually quite spectacular. And Andras, you do know this as well. Sometimes the hardest days for photographers are the really bright sunny ones. Today is overcast, and so everything, all the color is really popping out.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, summer weddings are a little more difficult.
And Sharon, you've mentioned something that instantly created a few images in my mind, which was you said that the prairie winds are really hard sometimes, and I know that with that information, I would be having beautiful shots of couples with their dresses flying all over the place, and maybe add even to that veil, right? So that's something. Look at that obviously as a positive. That is obviously not you're saying it as a negative, but for me that would be a positive add-on. Maybe people say like, oh my God, but it's too windy. Oh my God, it's beautiful that it's windy because it's going to get into your hair. Let's create some beautiful images.
Yeah, we spoke to a bride last week or the week before that was married in Coots, just at the beginning of fall when the leaves started to turn. And, she said she really loved how that just created such a backdrop and decor. They really didn't need to add anything again. Like they just had everything, the natural, sorry, Dave's got a tickle. Just the natural background created such a great color for her in her wedding. Poor Dave.
Yeah. All of a sudden I got to tickle my throat. Not something you want to have in the middle of a show. Excuse me. Yeah, no, all good points. I think everybody's, in fact, I think we'll go back to some of the comments here and we'll see that Kirsten here said the Coot Center is such a beautiful venue. I got sunflower family pictures done there one one year, and as soon as I seen the venue, I said, we're getting married here. So, and she also said, seriously, you guys, thank you so much for doing this series. I'm almost ready to start planning. It's overwhelming. And now I know some tips and tricks and have been introduced to some amazing people that I will be contacting for sure. Hopefully I'll have a tickle out of my throat by that time. So, Candace absolutely says the Coot Center is gorgeous for any time of year. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to say thanks for coming on here. We try to keep this to half an hour, so we're not taking up everybody's entire day. But thank you for coming on, Andras. I know it's past 10 o'clock there. It's past your bedtime. So you get to bed. And Sharon, I appreciate you coming on and kind of promoting what you guys do at the Coot Center as well. So thank you again, you guys, for coming on. And we will see you in the future, I'm sure, very, very soon. Okay?
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you for having us.
Have a good one, everybody. And we will see you on next week's show of Wedding Wisdom right here on all these channels that we broadcast on. Thanks, everybody, for watching.